Let's talk about some interesting news in regard to Russia, the United States, Ukraine, and the EU. The Russians are right. They are within their senses when they said if this war in Ukraine was to come to an end, all parties need to sit down, discuss, and look at the root cause of this war. What should have been done to prevent it? What was done wrong, and what needs to be in place so that it never happens again. Those are the fundamental steps that should be taken to make sure nothing like this ever happen again. And I'm sure anybody watching this video right now, if you're with your senses, you would agree with that, right? Let me just remind you guys something. Let me remind you something, because most of us seem to have forgotten a lot of things because of all the breaking news and disasters happening all around the world. There was an agreement ready to be signed in 2022. That agreement was ready. It's drafted. It has been scrutinized. It was there, ready to be signed, until Boris Johnson and Joe Biden discouraged Zelensky from signing it. I'm sure you all remember that. Please, whatever you do when it comes to this Ukraine conflict, you need to always remember that. That is why we're here today. That is why all of this is happening. They discouraged Ukraine from signing that agreement. They promised Ukraine all sorts, including NATO membership. The agreement should have been the best possible way to avoid all of this mess we are witnessing right now. And it was very simple and straightforward, for crying out loud. The agreement was based on Ukraine's neutrality. But then the UK Prime Minister back then and the then United States President discouraged Zelensky from signing that deal. We would fight with you. We would give you weapons. We would defeat Russia together. We are going to give you NATO membership. Up till now, up till today, well, until now, let me put it that way, the United States had not taken any public stand or measures to end this war in Ukraine until the 15th of August 2025, when we saw Donald Trump hosted Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Before then, there was no public steps taken by the United States to end this war in Ukraine. I guess most of you are probably wondering, why can't Russia just stop bombing Ukraine? Or why can't Russia just pack and go home? This war will end, right? It is not that easy. This war was not started by Russia. Even though that sounds, what is he talking about? If you know, you know. This war wasn't started by Russia, but this war was fundamentally provoked by the United States over a period of 30 years. You heard what I said? It was fundamentally provoked by the United States over a period of 30 years. So those of you that were thinking this war started in 2022, not at all. It had been in the making for over 30 years period. It was all about NATO expansion toward Russia. And I will tell you why or how that is. The United States promised and gave their words to the Soviet Union and Russia that they would not move an inch toward Russia. But after the Soviet Union, the United States in 1991 began the NATO expansion towards Russia. Even though they gave their words, they would not do it. Because it wasn't written down, because it wasn't signed, because it wasn't in any form of treaty, the United States said it didn't happen. We said it, but it didn't happen. Russia trusted them. They gave their words to Russia. But then from 1991, United States began expansion of NATO towards Russia. NATO has since expanded toward Russia with the sole intention of surrounding Russia with the alliance and hopefully to divide Russia, a whole superpower. Will the United States allow that to happen in their region? I mean, let's apply common sense. Let's forget who we support or who we don't support. Let's talk with our senses. Just for a second, will the United States allow that to happen around their region? Look what happened to Cuba, the Cuba Missile Crisis. If you haven't heard of it, go and Google it, go and read it. Cuba is still being punished up to today because they tried to house the Soviet missiles on their land. United States would not accept it. They would not allow it. So why are they expecting an equal to them to accept or allow the same thing? I mean, it's common sense. Ask yourself that question. Since 1991 up till now, United States continued to expand NATO alliance toward Russia with the intention to surround Russia, intimidate Russia, and divide Russia. And you think Russia's existence wasn't threatened by NATO? You still think Russia was wrong to stand their ground? Well, if you still think so, may God help you. So, why was the Alaska meeting called all of a sudden? Why was it called by Donald Trump all of a sudden? Because it wasn't Russia that called for it. It was Donald Trump. Why did he call for Alaska summit as a matter of urgency? Russia already made their intention known that, it is not going to, Russia is not going to change their terms and conditions. And that will not change. They've said it right from day one. I made a video the other day, I think that was on TikTok or Instagram. I said, Russia seemed to be the only country that has a clear direction of what they want or how they want to proceed. And those conditions Russia put forward from the start of this conflict had not changed. The dynamics changed though, when it comes to land, when it comes to the Donetsk, the Kherson, those regions that joined Russia, that dynamic changed because those countries are not part of Russia. But the fundamental of Russian condition never changed. No NATO membership for Ukraine, neutrality of any missile range in Ukraine, and the capping of Ukrainian military capability. And what else? No NATO boots in Ukraine. Those never changed. So Russia knew where they were going. But the EU, NATO, and Ukraine, every time they change. Even when it comes rain, they change. When the sun comes out, they change. When the winter is snowing, they change their mind every single time. They had no idea of, what they want, what they really want to get out of this. It is all about the hate for Russia. I say that again. I say that in most of my video. It was all about the hate for Russian Federation. Now, Donald Trump saw the level of disaster that was fast approaching, and that is still going on as we speak right now. And he decided to call the Alaska meeting with Vladimir Putin. And that went really well, even though a lot of things was not disclosed, some which we now know that I think for me personally I support it. It's not the best, it's not the great, but like I said, there would never be a good deal to end this war. There will never be a good deal. There will never be a favorable deal. The only person that will be favored in all of this, please get this point, the only person that will get favored, that will be favored in all of this situation is Russia, because they holds all the card. Otherwise, forget about it. This conflict is going to continue, and that is something we hope never happen. We hope some form of deal is reached as soon as possible. Mark Rubio came out today, yesterday, the 17th of August 2025. Clearly, he said, this war is not United States war. Oh my God. He said it's not United States war. And I'm thinking, who started this war then? Who encouraged the expansion of NATO towards Russia then? Who gave Russian their words and then backtracked on it? Who had been giving Ukraine those long-range missiles and pumping billions, hundreds of billions into Ukraine to continue to fight Russia? I rest my case. Mark Rubio said, this is not United States war. Then what can we say? If he said what he said what he said. Let's forget about all of that. Let's talk about the supposed meeting in Washington, D.C. today with Donald Trump. Zelensky is due to fly to Washington today with a few European leaders because from what I heard in the last hour, apparently they are going with Zelensky to save Zelensky because they suspect or believe Zelensky would misbehave, and this is the last straw. If he misses this opportunity, Ukraine is gone. It will be bye-bye. Well, I mean, that is what they say. But for me, I think the EU leaders are going for a different purpose. They have their own dodgy agenda. Perhaps to try to sway Zelensky away from continuing this talk with Vladimir Putin, or to try to encourage Donald Trump to continue to pump money and weapons into Ukraine. Something like that. But let's wait and see what happens tomorrow. It's going to be, today, sorry, I keep saying tomorrow. Today, the 18th of August, 2025. I, for one, am really looking forward to that meeting with Donald Trump, Zelensky, and the EU leaders at some point today. So, ladies and gentlemen, look out for another update on that meeting. Once the meeting had happened, I will come back here and update you guys. Thank you for watching, and please, before you go, give us a like, share the video, repost it to your pages, your social media pages. Most importantly, I could do with your subscription. Make sure you click that subscribe button before you go, and also click on the bell so every time I put a video on, you get notified. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys when I see you. Have a great day.